How's your day? Welcome to FallUCafé, a well-brewed show where we rant, yap, laugh, and enjoy deep connection, all just for you. I am your host barista, Autumn Lee, or known as Autumn, and in this episode of the show, we'll be tackling on... I will... Wait, I'm reading the wrong script again. And in this episode of the show, we'll be trying to check ourselves. Do you miss what you were before? Or do you miss what it was like before? Topic this episode is, I miss who I was before. So, this is a quote, okay? This is a quote topic. I miss who I was before. And I know that some of you listeners right now, including me, probably everyone, most people around the world have experienced this type of feeling. I miss who I was before. It's a nostalgic feeling where you either miss the experiences or you just miss who you were. You miss who you were before things. Especially we recently, it's not recent, it's like 6 years ago, we had this global event, which was COVID-19, the pandemic, of course, and it really changes how life should have been, because the pandemic really let's go to the pandemic route of this first. The pandemic route, this is where we got isolated, right? We got isolated in our homes or in our apartments or in some hospitals because of the pandemic. And we grow during that time, during that era, we grow in a different way. However, this is the revelation here. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, people still experience this type of feeling that they miss who they were before. So let's talk about it, okay? But before we talk about it, obviously our blind item of the day is Ite. So this blind item of the day is wait, how do I give clues to this person? So this person is, everyone changes, right? Everyone changes, but this person has a drastic change because of a specific event in their lives, and this is obviously a celebrity, you guys. So this celebrity changed a lot. This is indeed a singer and an actor, and that's all I'm gonna say. And this is connected to our topic, by the way. Every blind item of the day is connected to our topic in some way. So yeah. Now, the thought is, do you actually miss the past? So do you miss who you were, or do you miss what it was like when you were that person? What do you mean, Autumn? So let's think of it this way. Our past self, let's say our 10-year-old self, our 11 years old self, your 15-year-old self, your now self, your future self are all, let's say, different people, different persons. Do you miss what it was like to be that person, or do you miss what it was like to be that person? Do you get it? Do you miss the personality, or do you miss what the experiences were when you were that person? Let's say you were a child. I don't know who you are right now. I don't know what you've been going through right now. Let's say you're a teenager right now, right? You're an adolescent, or you're just a starting adult. This is like your first time being an adult, or you're in your mid-40s now. Whoever listening to this, one of the reasons why well, I'm not saying it, this is just a possibility. You miss what you were before because you have fewer responsibilities. I know that hit hard. I know guys, that hit hard. But no, for real. Right now I'm a 17-year-old kid. I still see myself as a kid, even though I'm a teenager. Because come on, you're yourself. But I miss the times where where I don't really have that much responsibilities, you know. I was a child, I was a kid. We all were a child and we all a kid. I know not everyone has this same privilege because there are other people that grew up in a poor state or like in a poor childhood. So it's very, you know, I'm thankful to have this privilege, but you will miss it. Technically, honestly, you have fewer responsibilities. You were just playing video games when you were a kid. Nintendo, like, got the PSP. You play around outside. So let's talk about it. My experiences on like going outside. So we moved houses when I was 7 years old, and I was not really an outgoing kid. However, I still get to get along with other kids. So I go outside sometimes when I was like around 7-8 years old, but not that much. I usually just go play on my iPad or like watch YouTube or like watch television, watch cartoons and all that kind of stuff. But whenever there's time, let's say it's a weekend, and I want to go outside to play with my people, with my other playmates back then. But usually I don't start the games. Usually I look out the gate, and then because our house has a gate and I look out the gate, there are kids playing, and I was like, I want to join them. Hey guys, what are you playing? Tumbang Preso? Or like what is Tumbang Preso in English? It's like you have to like spill the can or something, and then you like throw slippers everywhere, and then or you will play tag or 21. 21 is 21. Ooh, lucky number, 21. But no, outside, back when I was a kid, around 10 years old, we play 21 a lot. 21 is like a hide and seek game, but it's also tag, and it's like infection. So it's really a fun game. I really enjoyed it a lot. We don't play just in the streets, we play outside our streets as well. Like we play 21, that hide and seek game. We hid like 3 streets away from my house. 3 streets away from where we were, which is insane. That's how insane we were when we were kids, and I miss that time. Right now I miss that time, and it's probably because I miss those experiences. I just don't think I will experience that anymore because I'm an introvert, and I don't really see kids playing outside that much anymore, unlike what it was back then. Like I think every day during summer break, every kid was out of their houses playing 21, playing whatnot. And then during that era, I invented a game. I invented a game that everybody loves, that we have a chalk, right? We have a chalk, and then we would write out a circle, a big circle in the pavement. Since there's a lot of us, like my playmates and I, we would like play, it's like sumo wrestling, but it's not wrestling, you guys. It's like kindly, kindly, it's just in a kind way. Just in a kind way, we're pushing each other off the circle. And then when you're out of the circle, you're out the whole game. And then it's just the last man standing. And then, I don't know, it was it was just like, it was just insane. And then you form alliances, you form team, and then you just like break those alliances. I miss that era so much. What was that game called? Well, it's a common game. I know it's a common game tech, but like I still invented it in our street because I called it what's it called? Rambulan. I called the game Rambulan, and everybody calls the game Rambulan. I miss that era so much. It's just that I don't think we will feel the same way what we felt before, and I think that's pretty normal from what we were growing up. You know, like that kind of instances when you were a kid playing outside with your childhood friends. Like, you will miss that. Oh my gosh. Okay, take a sip of your coffee right now. Take a sip of your coffee right now because we're gonna have deep talks. Deep talks, okay? And also, please tell me what's your... I'm your barista, okay? So tell me what's your coffee order, okay? I might serve it to you. And then one thing you might miss on your past is like not overthinking every interaction. You don't overthink, you just say what you say. And then back then you have a lot of friends that you don't talk to anymore today. And it just makes you wonder, where are they now? I have a lot of my playmates back then that are far from where I am right now, and I do kind of miss them. I miss when we were playing and then there's like debates, like we fight, like we yell at each other and all that, and just like it's very nostalgic. But again, that's the opening thought of like, you miss what it felt like. You didn't really miss your personality, you miss what it felt like, right? Maybe you don't really miss yourself. Maybe you miss a version of your life that allowed you to be that person, like playing games and all that. Oh my god, that's deep. Because outside of being a kid, obviously I've been a teenager for how long now? For 4 years now, right? And then when I was 12, when I was 11, 12, 13, I missed that era because I was not necessarily a kid, I was not necessarily a teenager, I was an adolescent. And I was a young adolescent. At that time, that was the time when the pandemic hit, and then I stumbled upon I'm online on Discord a lot, and I miss my old Discord friends. We had this big friend group. We play Minecraft. We watch live streams on Twitch. It just felt like home. That's what it felt like. And many times in my life, I felt home. How could I say this? Multiple times in our life. You can't just... Because you can't deny. You can't deny a fact that... You can't deny a fact that you have... What is this called? How could I say this? I'm struggling to say this out loud. What is it? Holy moly. like, what I'm trying to say is, like, many times in your life, I don't know how old you are, you have felt home. You have felt home, not a house. Home. Home. You're comfortable with around these people that you were around with back then. Like, it doesn't matter what your social status is, you're rich, you're poor. I know for the fact that we felt home many times. Though it is different in our level, because there are people that are there were kids that are, going through a devastating life, like being in the middle of a war, and then there's kids dying, but they still feel home whenever they're with their parents and their siblings. So, but the thing is, that home breaks when the members of the family is far from each other now. You know what I mean? So when we're growing up, we live on our own. Like, probably if you are in America, you're 18 years old and you have to move out, you will miss your siblings. Maybe not your parents, I don't know. Not everyone has the same life, that is true. But I know for the fact, my point still stands, that we felt home many times. There, you probably have a best friend that you talk to, like, you vent, you rant to that best friend and saying, "Hey bestie, I'm not feeling well," and then that bestie hugs you, cuddles you, and then saying, "Everything's fine, I'm here, I'm your best friend," and all that. That is a feeling of home, that someone is there and someone you feel safe, you feel comfortable with. And I know for the fact that we felt the word home many times, and that's why you probably miss your old self. It's probably because you miss that home. You probably miss that kind of home. If I'm being honest, I have a lot of homes in my life. I have a lot of trios, I have a lot of friend groups, situationships, exes. Like, I miss some of them, because that feeling, there's like, in that era, there's like feeling of home, and you feel comfortable, and that's what you technically miss. Holy moly, so we're just in that part. We're just in that part of, I miss who I was before. No, you miss what it was like. And it's okay to feel that way. But the thing is, you have to move forward. Let's say, life is not a routine. I know humans like us really love routines. You may not do it like consciously, you're probably doing unconsciously, that you're actually doing the same routine every day. But however, little bits of those quote-unquote routines will change as time goes by. Like, you don't wake up the same way you woke up back when you were a kid. Like, let's say, because back then I was a kid, I always wake up at 7 a.m. but now I wake up at 9 a.m. That's a difference. That's a growth. Right. Growth doesn't mean you have to change instantly. Growth is like a step-by-step change. And that change is a growth. You know what I mean? It's like it's all coming back around. Oh my god, we need to stop. We're still not done on the first topic. First part of the topic, let me tell you. That you miss what it was like before. Home, playing games, the comfortableness, the sadness, all that feeling back then. You probably miss those instead. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you don't miss yourself. You don't miss your old self. maybe you miss the version of life that allowed you to be that person. Do you get what I'm saying? Next part is you probably are different. I know we grow differently, right? We have our own growth, but there are people out there that still has the same personality. For what? For 5 years, for 10 years, for 20 years, they still have the same soft, fun, a personality. But you probably are different now, and that's probably why you're feeling this way. Let's say your hobbies, right? You used to play video games when you were a kid, but now you draw art. That's a difference, and you kind of miss that era where you just play video games. You know what I'm saying? And then let's say music. Our taste in music changes as well. Probably back then you loved punk or alt or indie, and then now you like K-pop, or you probably like rock, or you probably like R&B, from metal to R&B. Like that is a sign that we are different because our taste in things are changing. And that is practically normal. It's normal, and it's normal to reflect on what it was like. I can't believe I used to listen to this music artist. I can't believe I used to listen to this genre. What about games? The games you used to play for hours now feel boring. You know what I mean? I play Roblox back then a lot, but now a lot of Roblox games just doesn't hit anymore in my opinion. And I feel like that's growth. That's us growing, and then there are a new generation of kids liking the new games in Roblox, and then the old games that we used to play on Roblox are declining, and I think that's normal. It's just that the memory is kept inside us. That's why you probably miss what it was like before. Basically, taste. So let's go to the topic of taste. You miss what it was like, and you're probably wondering, why did I like those things? You know what I mean? Like even in exes relationships, don't mind the rapper in the background. I'm unwrapping. I'm unwrapping a dried rice cakes, actually. It's a rice cake, but it's dried, so it's like really stiff. I love these though. In Tagalog, they're called puto seco. I love puto seco. Do you guys want an ASMR? It's like pastry, it's pastry in my cafe, in FallUCafé. Anyways, wait, let's take an actual coffee break, as this show is sponsored by no one. No one? Seriously? However, if you have something to promote, you can definitely sponsor our show. Want to promote your business? Want to promote your product? Want to promote an app? Want to promote a game? Even better, you can promote yourself. We got you covered. Anything that you can possibly promote to sponsor our show. Our show, my show. You can be our sponsor. Anything to make the best brewed coffee last longer. Email us at inquiry.autumn.lee@gmail.com or inquiry.autumn.lee@gmail.com. autumn.lee@gmail.com. Now, back to the show. Like, our taste in life is changed. Because let me tell you, right now, I'm eating a puto seco right now. I used to not like this. Back then, when I was a kid, I hate puto seco, but now I'm eating it willingly. Though I need water. I actually need water to eat this. This is... Oh my god, this is actually making me... My mouth is dry already. Jesus. Oh my god, I'm not okay. I am not well. I shouldn't be eating this while I'm in a podcast. But hey, I'm Autumn. I can do what I want. Do what I want. I'm your boss. My name is Autumn. But again, our taste in life has changed. Like, type. Let's say... How could I say this? Like, your type in... what is this called? Type... Oh my god, my rice cake just fall. Where did it go? You know, like, type in dating. Like, back then, you used to like... Oh, I like tall guys. But now, when you grow up, you're like, oh, I like short guys. That analogy sucks. I'm so sorry. Where is my rice cake? Where did that go? The 10-second rule is done, and I can't pick it back up. But I have no idea where it is. Anyways, you know, like, our taste in our taste in life, our humor has changed. Your ambitions have changed. Like, your ideas, the way you think back then is different to the way you think right now. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying exactly personality, but I'm just saying the way you think. So that's our second topic, is the way you think. Like, types. Like, oh my gosh, I hate this music now. Like, oh my gosh, this game is boring now. Whoa, I was like rapping. Anyways, so that's what it's like. Our tastes in life changes every time we grow, and that is normal. How many times do I have to say the word normal? Oh my god. Normal. How many times? Okay, comment down how many times I've said normal. How many times I've said normal? Comment down below, and you probably win a puto seco. This podcast is brought to you by Puto Seco. But no, this is great. You know, like, your types changes. Back then, you used to like morenos. Now you like chinitos. You know what I mean? But that's reality. And you're questioning what it was like. You know, you miss what it was like. You miss what it was like because you don't notice yourself changing because you're with yourself every day. Do you get what I'm saying? And when you realize you change, you're like, oh my god, I changed a lot. And you're like reflecting back on, damn, I can't believe I was happy back then with all this stuff. Like, my type, my taste on this music changed, but like, wow, I was enjoying this? That's so cool. Like I've said, you don't notice yourself changing because you're with yourself every day. It's like watching your hair grow, right? Like, you don't notice your hair grows until you like look at an old photo from months ago. Like, oh my gosh, my hair grew a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, even beard. Like, oh my gosh, I just shaved like a month ago and now I look like Santa Claus. But that's the point, right? You don't notice yourself changing a lot, and that's why you wonder, I miss who I was before, because you're wondering what it was like before, or like why I was doing those things. You know what I mean? It's different to experiences, the one we talked about earlier. This is more about like taste in things. You know what I mean? So next topic is the wait, let me eat my poto seco cheese. So yeah, we mentioned the old picture earlier, and let's have that as our next topic, is that you find an old photo and suddenly you're staring at someone who is technically you but doesn't feel like you. Like I've said, you're different, right? We established that your tastes were different, your personality is different, but then you start thinking, I remember what happened that day, I remember what I was thinking, but I don't remember being that person anymore. It's creepy in a beautiful way, especially old videos when you're talking naturally, laughing, or just existing. Right? There was this time that some of my old videos got deleted, but I do remember them by heart because that was the time when I was a kid. I had the video of me when I was a kid, back in my old home, back in my old house, where I was dancing or like acting that I was in a music video with the song of Gangnam Style. I'm not even kidding. Like, ask my mom that I had a video of that, but we don't have that video anymore, and I think that's what hurts. Like, all the old documentation is gone. Like, all the proof that I did this are gone. Because genuinely, I missed that video. It was so funny. I was wearing sunglasses inside the house. I was like in a chair and I was acting like PSY in that Gangnam Style music video when he was at the beach. And yeah, it was so funny and like it's so iconic. It's so iconic and so funny that like I miss that. Like, you know, like those type of evidences, those memories. It's just like, wow, that's what I was back then. Even like, let's say right now, you stumbled upon a photo from 2 years ago, and then it was a photo with you and your ex, and it was like, oh wow, this is interesting. This makes you wonder, like we're in the state of wondering, like, oh, what was I when you saw those pictures, when you saw those videos? You want to get into the mind of your old self, like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking that I did those shit? You know what I mean? What was I thinking? Was I high or what? But you know what I mean, right? Okay, another bite for our potoseco. Damn, this hits. Anyway, and mind you, I didn't like potoseco back then when I was a kid, and I'm enjoying it right now. Anyways, before we cut to ourselves with our other topics, our next clue for our blind item of the day is Wait. Let me search this person up. It's a she. The blind item of the day is a she again. And this blind item of the day is the celebrity that I talked about earlier. Jesus, this is so loud. Okay, short intermission. Okay. So this she was in a Disney franchise that later on changed her life. Now, this is where this connects to I Miss Who I Was Before. She then recently reflects on how she misses that era, that time when she was in that franchise. So this franchise is a movie that was originally a trilogy, but now it's not. It got extended. It's originated from the books. So she was an actor for this trilogy. And a specific event in her life connected to this franchise that changed her life, that later on she reflects and say, I miss this era. I miss what it was like before. So that's actually a big hint. If you guys don't think that's a big hint, then you don't know what I'm saying. You don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, so let's talk about growing up. Another bite. Anyways, I don't know if you're hearing it, but whatever. Growing up isn't always becoming better. We are constantly told that you are supposed to grow up. You're supposed to grow. But growth isn't necessarily becoming a happier or more confident person. Sometimes growing means becoming more cynical, becoming more guarded, losing innocence, learning that people aren't always nice, realizing adults don't have everything figured out, understanding how money, relationship, status, etc. always actually work. I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. Right? So I'm gonna share my experience on this. Back then I was a very naive kid. I cried a lot when I was a kid, and it's such a personal moment to be naive, and then around you there are bullies, right? You probably grew up with bullies, or you probably did not grow up with bullies, but if you grew up with bullies, you probably know what it feels like, and you're more guarded. Like I've said earlier, you're becoming more guarded. You're trying yourself. I know this is too real, right? Right now, you're being too... How could I say this? You're locking yourself up. You're locking yourself up, but then you miss what it was like. Let me tell you, like I've said earlier, we can't bring back the memories, we can't bring back the situations back then, but we are scared that might happen again. That's why we guard ourselves, we hid ourselves, and now we're stuck in a feeling that, I miss what it was like before. Despite you're getting bullied, despite all the sadness. Because let me tell you right now, do you really miss what it was like before? Because back then, you also cried, or you were hurt, And you're right now saying, I miss what it was like before. But do you miss those happenings, those events, those lectures in your life? Do you specifically miss those? Exactly. Because those lessons in our life actually shapes what we are right now. You may not you're not necessarily being better person, or you're not necessarily a happier person. You're trying to look out for yourself from the past, but you miss the past, and that's the psychological paradox we're in. That do you actually miss what you were? That's the question that I'm asking. At what point do you actually miss everything? Right? Because there's difference between becoming wiser and becoming emotionally exhausted. Because there are people out there. Let me tell you right now that because I'm an introvert and I am also guarded to myself, I'm basically self-reporting myself. I'm voting out myself as an imposter in this Among Us lobby. Because I feel the same as an introvert person. I don't like going out. I don't really like do I really want to meet new people? That's the question. I always ask that whenever there are new people hanging around with me, or around my bubble, I suppose. Well, there's part of you that you are wise in that sense, but that's actually emotionally exhausted. You know, that's emotionally exhausting. And it's okay to be afraid, but let that fear be a strength for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're reflecting to the past, right? Makes you easily vulnerable. Oh, I miss what it was like. I'm gonna wrap myself like a burrito in my bedroom just because I miss what it was like. I miss my ex. I miss my friends. I miss home. Like I've told you, I miss home, but now you're more guarded. You're guarding yourself. It is wise, but you're guarding yourself too much. This is similar to our blind item of the day. Again, you're guarding yourself too much. Like myself, I'm also self-reporting myself. I'm also guarding myself too much, and that right now, because of that, I just realized that I'm not experiencing the things that I should have experienced. Like going out, experiencing high school life. Because technically, I've gone through high school already. I graduated high school and it doesn't feel like high school at all. It just feels like school. It's not elementary, it just feels like I'm there, trying to survive. And that's the difficult part, is you're not really enjoying what's supposed to be enjoying in life. And I think that's a reflection that I miss who I was before. Do you really miss who you were before? Or that nostalgia is actually just guarding you, or putting you in a private bubble that prevents you from going out and actually do work. Right? Wow, that hits. But this is the last part. You miss your actual personality. So let's get to it. Your actual personality. So this is the part where you actually miss your old self. I'm not gonna call you out anymore from lying. Because nostalgia is a liar. But I'm not gonna call you out anymore if you actually miss your old personality. If you miss who you were. You were an extrovert, you were more creative, you were more trusting, you were more spontaneous, you were more ambitious, you were more affectionate. You were less afraid of embarrassment. And now you're different. But now, let me ask you a question right now, today, tonight, afternoon, morning, this morning, or whatever, whenever you're listening to this right now. Let me ask you, what were you like back then? What was your personality? Write it down on a paper. After you write that down, now describe yourself right now on a separate paper, or like in a separate page, or like in the back part of the paper, or like in the bottom side of the paper, or like somewhere else in the paper that you can distinguish which one was the past and which one is right now. And now write down the personality you want to be in the future. Also, like, make it like, make it probably in the back side of the paper, or like down side of the table, like top, middle, bottom side of the paper. Like, put past, present, and future. Past, present, future of me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or like have another paper for each version of you, and now compare. Like, I don't really want you to compare yourself to what you were back then, but let's see like the transition. Let's say the creative side. Were you more creative back then, or were you more creative now? And now, do you want to be more creative in the future? Do you want to be more trusting? Were you trusting back then? Are you trusting now? Are you ambitious right now? Were you ambitious back then? Or in the future, do you want to achieve those dreams? Let me tell you. Because Because the interest this is so hard being dyslexic, but the interesting question is not how do I become that person again. The interesting question is, what happened to the part of me? Are they gone? Is that person gone? Or is that person still buried inside of you? Now, answer that on yourself. I'm not a therapist, okay? I'm just a psychology student, okay? So like, I'm not really good at this. This is my first year. I'm a freshman. Anyways, so let's go to our last final point. Is, like I said earlier, nostalgia is kind of a liar. We romanticize the past. You remember, those were the best years of my life. But you conveniently, this is what I've said earlier, you conveniently forget the loneliness, the arguments. What happened to my mic? Anyways, the arguments, the insecurity, the boredom, the things you desperately want to escape, the nights you wish you were older. Right? That's different. Why is my mic echoing right now? Or like, oh my gosh, I have a feedback. Jesus. Anyway, this is what I've been saying earlier. Nostalgia is kind of a liar. We romanticize the past, but you conveniently forget all the bad things that happened back then. All the bad things that happened back then that shaped you to be yourself now. You miss the edited version of the past that exists in your head. Is that true? Now, I'm gonna let you answer that to yourself at home, do you miss the edited version of the past that only exists in your mind? Because your brain basically makes a highlight reel. You're probably watching TikTok on your brain right now, but instead of like TikTok videos, it's just memories, but it's selective memories. So sometimes you don't really miss the past, right? You just miss the edited version of the past of yourself. So I'm gonna ask you one more question tonight. Would you really want to go back? Would you really want to go back? You wake up tomorrow and you're literally your old self again. Same age, same friends, same room, same life, same personality. Would you actually be happy? Or would you immediately remember or say, oh yeah, I wanted to leave this behind? There is one personal thing that I missed out on. And this is the reason why I didn't share it earlier, is to point out that nostalgia is indeed a liar. I have an album which I recently deleted to re-record again, which was The Downfall. The Downfall is an album that I made back in during the pandemic that really I was in a tough spot. I was writing songs that mirrors what I was been feeling in a poetic way possible, but also in a childish way because I was hurt. I was hurt when I was a child. I'm gonna say this right now. I was severely depressed back then. Some of my closest friends knows this, and it's the past that I keep forgetting. Because recently I've been looking back at the past like, oh, I miss this era, I miss this. But at the same time, at that same era, I realized, oh, I was experiencing the downfall era. I was experiencing why I was writing my album. That makes sense. So this is where nostalgia basically becomes, I miss it, but I wouldn't choose it again. That's a contradiction, right? But that's the reality. That's the complexion of human emotion, is that we feel things that like, oh, I miss this shit. But then when you go back, oh, I don't miss this shit. There is a song by Taylor Swift called I Hate It Here. So a song by Taylor Swift says, I hate it here, because that was her depressed era, right? The tortured poet's apartment. She got a lot of hate with the line, wait, let me pull it up. I hate it here lyrics. So there was one line. My friends used to play a game where we could pick a decade we wish we could live in instead of this. I'd say the 1830s, but without all the racists and getting married off for the highest bit. Everybody hated Taylor Swift for that line. However, there is an upcoming line in that lyric say, everyone would look down cause it wasn't fun now. Seems like it was never even fun back then. Nostalgia is a mind trick. If I'd been there, the 1830s, I'd hate it. It was freezing in the palace. So she contradicted herself. So I don't get why she's getting hate for a single line without context. Like, come on. Learn context, guys. But saying the nostalgia in her mind saying, I hate it here. I hate the present time right now. I want to go to 1830s. But she doesn't know all the things that are happening in the 1830s. Let me tell you. So this was like the time where like how could I say this without being historically wrong? So this was like back then, this was like there's so many wars, right? And then there's so many killings, right? In the 1830s. And then there's like pandemics as well. And then epidemics. There's so many things that happening in 1830s that are not great. But like you miss the era because it's so aesthetic. It's so fashionable. But then like Taylor Swift said, seems like it was never even fun back then. Nostalgia is a mind trick. If I've been there, I'd hate it too. And that's the point. That's what nostalgia is trying to make you feel. So that was tough. But I'm gonna ask some questions before we end the show. If you met your 10-year-old self, would that 10-year-old self recognize you? That's my question. And another question is, what year of your life would you revisit for one day? Answer on the comment section down below, whether you're in YouTube or Spotify, I don't care. And then, yeah, that's it. Maybe the goal isn't to go back, guys. Maybe it's to carry something forward. That's the end of this episode. But before we finish this episode, I want to give out the last clue for our blind item of the day. So this blind item of the day, like I've said, it's part of the franchise. How could I say this? Has a music career. Wait lang. So her Disney career was 8 years, from 2013 to 2021. And then from 2013 to 2021. And then after 2021, her music aesthetic changed into something more queer. As she came out as a bisexual. That's it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the day, and I hope you're doing better. I hope you're feeling better, and I hope you can reflect on your past, but in a good way, and in a healthy way. So hope to see you next time, next Friday. See you all next time. Goodbye. And also come back to FallUCafé. Bye.